Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. 5 reasons why you may not be starting investing in real estate yet. The purpose of my content is to help the average individual realize that you can reach financial freedom in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position. I wasn't in a good position. I had made it to 40 without ever having $1,000 in the bank. I started focusing on my finances when I had 3 kids. I was a single parent, and I found out about $89,000 in bad debt in my name that I didn't know existed until a divorce. That was my starting position. It took 8 years to make work optional. Then I worked for another 4 because I really liked my job, but I finally retired in 2022 because time freedom finally won out over a job that I really liked. But it's really hard to reach financial freedom if we don't take the first steps. So I'm going to talk about these 5 things because just being aware of them might help you get around them. And all 5 might not be impacting you, but one of them might. First, and this might be one of the reasons why you're watching this channel, some people are the wrong kind of lazy. I mean, I get it. The point of my content is the lazy person's investing guide to reaching financial freedom. Lazy could mean busy. It could also mean that if you're like me, I don't want to have to do anything. I also want to be able to do anything I want to, but I don't want to have to. So a strong motivation to reach financial freedom is being lazy, knowing that if you invest the right way, eventually work is optional, you don't have to do things, and you have the time freedom to do what you want. But the motivation to have control of my schedule so that I don't have to do anything doesn't mean that I got here by not doing things. Actually doing the work, looking at deals, developing a strategy, learning a market, developing the skills that it takes to actually take action. It's okay to be lazy. Make sure you're picking the right kind of lazy. And every time you're feeling lazy, I want you to think of this quote.
But not today.
You don't have to work out forever. You could skip working out, but not today. You don't have to look at deals every day forever. Just don't skip them today. So what I want you to do is control your lazy for now. You can be lazy. Taking action for somewhere between 5 and 10 years to reach financial freedom means that then you get to choose how lazy you want to be for the rest of your life. That's strong motivation. Second, and this might be a little confusing because it seems like something we say to do. I usually talk about knowing your end goals so that you can pick the path to get there. But the second thing that might be stopping some people from getting started is having goals that are too big. If it's not achievable mentally, we might not be able to take that first step. And while some of us have the goal of having a huge portfolio, like Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time, or Matt the Lumberjack Landlord, who both have over 100 units, if we said, focus on getting 100 units, how do you start that? That's why in the One Rental at a Time community, we usually focus on get to 4. It's achievable. Mentally, we can picture having 4 rentals. Having over 100 might be really hard to picture. And for some of us, that's not the goal. My goal was the most amount of cash flow from the least amount of units. So I have 16 rental units, and I'm not even sure I want that many. At some point, I might sell off a couple, pay off some of the debt, increase the cash flow, and have less properties and tenants to take care of. But getting to that first rental and focusing on getting to 4, at 4, we talk about life changing so that you can focus on something that's achievable. It is okay to have a wish list of the big things that you want, but setting a goal of actionable items like, I'm going to look at least 5 different properties today. And each one of those small goals builds the ladder that gets you to where you actually want to be. But thinking about your end goal and focusing on that makes the steps too big for us to take. So remember, when you're setting your goals, make sure it's achievable. At least your short-term goals are achievable by actionable steps that you can actually do. The third thing that might be stopping some people from getting started in investing in real estate is trying to time the market. One of the problems with looking at real estate is we see the timeline. We can remember the last crash. We can remember the last recession. We can remember the last time prices were really low. And mentally, we think, I would like to time the market and go back to 2011 and buy everything that I could find. We can't. In 5 or 10 years, we're going to look back at now and think of the things that we wish we had done. Either buy more, buy different, buy in a different area. You can't time the market. So there's a version of this that I like to do. And a lot of people will refer to time in the market beats timing the market. That's not exactly how I look at it. Yes, I want to own my properties long term, and the longer that I own them, the better the deal tends to look. So what I do is a version of dollar cost averaging. A lot of people, when they talk about the stock market, they say don't time it because the stock market is a lot more volatile and things happen quicker. In real estate, prices are sticky and it takes longer. It took 2 to 3 years for the last crash to actually have its full impact in real estate. So dollar cost averaging is used a lot in stocks where they talk about just take a set amount of money and invest it consistently. So when the stock market is up, you're buying less. And when it goes down, you buy more. And there's probably a lot more to it than that, but I'm not a stock investing guy and I don't give stock advice. I invest in real estate. And so I have a version of dollar cost averaging that I use. There are some steps. I consistently save as much as I can, increasing my income, decreasing my expenses, saving and investing the difference. So that money consistently grows. I'm hunting every day for the next great deal. The idea is I'm going to buy the great deal when I find it, but I have to know what a great deal is. And I have to be looking or I would miss it. One of the mistakes I think people make is they think, I'm going to sit back for 6 months to a year and wait for a set of circumstances to change, either interest rates going down or prices coming back down or whatever their wish list is of things that they want to happen before they buy. And then they'll jump into the market. But it takes a good 2 to 4 months to figure out a market to know what a good or a great deal is. So if you wait and then jump in, situation's going to change by the time you understand the market again. So to me, that's kind of a mistake. I would rather hunt every day. And if I found a great deal tomorrow, pounce on it. But if I don't find a great deal until 2025, that's just how my dollar cost averaging system worked. I'm buying the great deal when I find it. That doesn't mean I think I'm going to find it on a scheduled time like I would be able to dollar cost average purchase with stocks. It means that I'm consistently doing the work, looking for great deals, saving to invest the difference, keeping my credit score up, staying in touch with my lenders to find out what's going on currently with interest rates, making sure I'm watching my area average rents because those can change and impact my ability to get a yield. To me, one of the problems with timing the market seems like people are waiting for a very specific set of circumstances that might never happen. Almost every year, consistently, there's been a reason to not invest in real estate. We had the silver tsunami when all the boomers were going to retire. We had interest rates in 2018 going too high. We had prices surging above 2008 numbers when we had the big crash. And a lot of people associated the crash with prices, which is not actually what caused the crash. So a lot of people were saying, until prices come down, until rates come down, until XYZ, doesn't matter what the thing was, they won't take action. Imagine having the ability to buy in 2011 right now at those prices with those rates, knowing what was going to happen in the next 10 years. We can't time the market. We can look back and know what would have been the right thing to do. But almost every time, if we look back, the right thing to do was to buy a great deal. Over a long enough time, and I'm not saying spend hundreds of thousands of dollars extra, pay more than a property's worth, but if you can buy a property that's cash flowing today, where it makes sense as an investment, and yes, they are harder and harder to find as interest rates go up and prices haven't come down like people expect them to. We've actually seen prices tick up in the last couple of weeks. Waiting for circumstances that might never happen is going to keep a lot of people trapped in their jobs, possibly decades, or for the rest of their life. The real trick is, how do you know what a great deal is? Video coming soon.
But not today.
Looking forward to that video. The fourth thing that could be stopping us from starting investing in real estate might be impacting us in a few areas of life. This could hit work, parenting, investing, dating, but it's one of the easiest ones to overcome. Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence can create a fear of failure, or sometimes worse, a fear of failure in the eyes of our friends and family. It might be easier to actually lose money than to have people think we lost money. Some people are more afraid of their friends and family thinking they lost money than actually losing money. It's why one of the rules I really like from the One Rental at a Time community is the 7th rule: audit your circle. You can't change the people around you, so sometimes you have to change the people around you. If we don't have the confidence and we think that we might fail, it makes sense that we don't take the first step. So there's 4 words I want you to apply to this concept in anything that you're dealing with, whether it's, like I said, work, parenting, investing, not dating. But confidence comes from competence. Real estate investing is actually an amalgamation of a lot of small skills that you put together. If you don't know how to run the numbers on the deal, to compare one property to another, to shop lenders, to compare rates, to find a contractor, to find a lease, to screen tenants, to place tenants, to manage your properties, to find a property manager, all the little skills that you can put together. That's why in my videos where I talk about getting started in real estate, I focus on it one step at a time, because when you learn how to save by increasing your income, decreasing your expenses, it makes sense to look at your credit score and to see how you can improve it. Once you've learned how to save and you've increased your credit score, it makes sense to go talk to a lender. When you're competent at saving and you're competent at getting your credit score up, it gives you the confidence to actually talk to a lender. Each one of these stages builds on your confidence to make it make sense to go to the next step. So to get started, learn the skills to gain the competence that will make you confident so you can take that first step. And finally, on our list of 5 things that are stopping some people from getting started in investing in real estate, the 5th is one that could be being caused by YouTube University. This is home run syndrome. The idea that we don't want to pursue a deal unless it's an actual home run sometimes comes from watching shows where we do deal deep delves, or BiggerPockets does deal deep dives, where people talk about the one property they purchased that they really want to share, where they learned something or it worked out great. So we think that a great deal means that we get great returns, had easy obstacles to overcome. I mean, we're actually hearing about these stories because they were successes. And yes, we do make videos on our challenges, our failures, our times we lost money. But the ones we tend to watch the most, we want to hear about the deals, how they find it, how they fund it, what kind of property is it, what does it look like now? And when we're first starting out, that sometimes makes us think we have to do that good or it's not worth it. Or another thing that some people do is they try to compare someone's year 10 or year 20 to their year 1. So when someone has reached financial freedom, like Michael Zuber, Matt the Lumberjack Landlord, myself, and we talk about we're looking for the next great deal, and the deal after that will be greater because we understand our market. We're not in a rush. We can actually be kind of choosy. A new investor might think, oh, I'm not in a rush. I can be kind of choosy. You're not going to get to your 10th deal unless you do your first one. And a base hit is okay. You're not going to get an RBI unless you had a base hit. It's actually how that works. It's weird that I know that. And when we buy a base hit, a few years later, because we're buying long-term, those look like home runs. I've purchased properties that were barely over a 10% cash-on-cash return, had some challenges to deal with. But I look back after owning them for 5 or 6 years, and the return now, based on the cost to acquire and the annual profit, would be way over 20%. That'd be a killer deal. It didn't look that way when I first got it. So don't compare year 10 to your year 1, and maybe try not to get stuck on every deal needs to be amazing. It's okay to buy good deals. And yes, when you hear people talk that are financially free, we might not be pursuing a good deal, but we're going to pounce on a great deal when we find it. That doesn't mean that that was what got us to where we are. The good deals added up to reach financial freedom. And if you're familiar with my content, anytime that I do a list, I try to sneak in a bonus, but I'm going to cheat with this bonus, and I'm going to say that if you can figure out which of these 5 things, one, all, or none, has been impacting you, please let me know in the comments below which one you think applied to you. But once you get past those 5 things, how do you actually get started? What steps do you take? And for that, I made this video here. Look forward to seeing you there. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.